The $17 billion a year federal transportation and logistics market is composed of 8 major submarkets, so we're putting them head to head to find out which one's best for small businesses and new federal contractors. And we're doing it March Madness style, with winners chosen based on our analysis of over 100,000 federal transportation and logistics awards from fiscal 23. And if you stick around until the end, we're sharing the 3 most effective strategies we found new vendors using to get their feet in the door. Alright, in round 1 we're choosing winners based on total market size and small business market size. And our first face-off is trucking versus water transportation. In fiscal 23, the government spent about $230 million on trucking services, mostly for military moves, and that number was split roughly evenly between large and small businesses. Meanwhile, water transportation clocks in at a whopping $2.6 billion a year, with roughly $1 billion going to small businesses. And most of that spending was on moving sea freight for the Navy. So water transportation is the clear market size winner. Our second transportation showdown is between bus and taxi and air transport. The bus and taxi market covers everything from wounded veteran transport to busing services at national parks, and it's about a $400 million a year market, with 2/3 going to small businesses. Turning to air transport, the market is an impressive $5 billion a year, with spending on everything from space launch to Afghan and Ukraine evacuations to military training and rural firefighting. And of that $5 billion, roughly $2 billion goes to small businesses. So in terms of market size, air transportation is the clear victor. Of course, if you're already trucking or providing bus and taxi services, then picking up one-off government contracts is a great idea. We just don't think that those federal markets are big enough to build a company around. Moving on to transportation support, our first showdown is between warehousing and water transportation support. The warehousing and storage market comes in at roughly $1.6 billion, with around a quarter going to small businesses. And this submarket covers everything from highly specialized medical storage to domestic and overseas bulk warehousing. The water transportation support market is about $380 million a year, with $165 of that going to small businesses, and it covers everything from port operations to cargo handling and navigation services. So warehousing is the easy winner, and we'll be moving on. Next, we have air transportation support and freight brokerage. Air transportation support weighs in at an eye-popping $5 billion a year spent on aircraft maintenance, training, and airfield operations and maintenance, with roughly $600 million going to small businesses. Meanwhile, freight brokerage is an unimpressive $146 million, and even worse, only about $1 million of that is going to small businesses. So air transportation support is the clear winner. In round 2, we're choosing winners based on how dynamic the markets are, and we're measuring that on 2 dimensions. First, we'll see how many different companies are winning contracts, and second, we'll assess the average number of bids per contract. And this is a Goldilocks analysis. If there's too much competition for each contract, that's bad for new vendors because it's tough to compete with so many other people. But if there isn't enough competition, it indicates that there are entrenched competitors who will be tough to displace. So we're looking for competition where the market's just right, which we think is around the federal market average of 5 bids per contract. Our 2 transportation support semi-finalists are water and air transportation, and looking at each, only 110 water transportation companies won federal contracts over the last year, compared to air transportation's 450 different winners. Turning to the number of bidders, both water and air transportation contracts are getting about 5 bids, so right in that sweet spot. So it's a close call, but 4 times as many air transportation companies won work, so they're moving on. In transportation support, only 250 companies won warehousing contracts last year, compared to the 1,000 winners in air transportation support. And the average warehousing contract only got 2 bids, which is a huge red flag. So much so that we did a little investigating, and found that the warehousing market is composed of hundreds of independent mini-markets centered around military bases and other federal installations. And within each of these mini-markets, there are just a couple vendors that win again and again. So in the aggregate, the market seems healthy, but once you get into the details, you find that it's actually pretty broken. Air transportation support is not much better at 3 bids per award, but it's certainly better than warehousing, so it's moving on. And remember, once we find our winner, we're sharing 3 strategies to break into this market, so stick around. Now, in the final round, we're choosing a winner based on the percentage of contracts won by new companies. And new is defined as companies that have been in business for less than 5 years. And air transportation is the clear winner, with a consistently higher percentage of contracts going to new businesses. So air transportation is our recommendation for small logistics companies who are trying to break into the federal market. Now, here are the 3 strategies we found new businesses using to break in. First, of all the contracts won by new businesses, about half were small business set-aside contracts, so set-asides are your friend. Second, new businesses are winning SAP contracts, and this makes sense because SAPs are faster and easier to respond to than conventional contracts, and typically don't have as many compliance requirements. And third, the newest winners are not selling through the GSA schedule. In fact, most of them aren't even getting onto schedule until they've been in business for at least 3 years. So save your money and don't worry about schedules. And for more details on each submarket, you can watch our YouTube shorts or download our submarket baseball cards. Both are linked in the description below.